Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm Megan.
Now, beauty is, of course, hard to quantify, but I think that we've developed a method anyone can use to evaluate cars aesthetically. It's called the AS method, which stands for authority, scarcity, and savvy.
We're going to put some well-known cars into perspective using that idea, starting with what must certainly be one of the most beautiful cars of all time, the Shelby Cobra Daytona.
Yeah, and you should watch the video put out by Hagerty of Pete Brock, designer of both the Cobra Daytona and the Corvette Stingray, talking about those design processes, but I will summarize. Carroll Shelby, Brock's boss, did not care about the looks of the Cobra Daytona. All he cared about was having a car that he could take to France to beat Ferrari at Le Mans. To do that, he needed to take the race-winning Cobra Roadster and get more top speed out of it.
Now, he needed more top speed because the backside of the Le Mans track, the Circuit de la Sarthe, was, at the time, a 3.7-mile drag strip called the Mulsanne Straight. It's still called that now, but it's less straight now.
Yeah. Because in 1988, Roger Dorchy drove a Peugeot on the straight at 253 miles per hour. The FIA decided not to sanction straights longer than 2 kilometers, so they added 2 chicanes to the Mulsanne Straight in 1990. But in 1964, straight shot.
Which meant Shelby needed top speed. And to get more top speed, he needed better aerodynamics.
Earth's atmosphere is a fluid that we call air, and moving quickly through it is all about your shape. If you've ever done an accidental belly flop at the pool and then tried to walk it off while the popular girls laughed at you, then you know how tricky fluids can be. Not that that ever happened to me.
Pete Brock and some other folks drew up a coupe version of the Cobra Roadster. At the time, the design was thought to be so ugly that none of the fabricators wanted to touch it. But they built it anyway, and they beat Ferrari in the GT class at Le Mans in 1964. The Roadster and coupe versions of the Cobra are considered by many to be the most beautiful cars in the world. Why? Great ass.
They took down Ferrari, and that gave Daytona heaps of authority. They had the best fabricators, the best materials at their disposal, which gave them high savvy, and they only built a half dozen of them, so they're scarce. So super high marks on the ass scale for the Shelby Daytona.
Most passenger cars can't compete with the high ass levels of race cars like the Shelby Daytona because passenger cars have low scarcity and middling savvy because savvy is expensive. For them, success or failure often hangs solely on authority.
Now do an experiment with us. Close your eyes and think about the most attractive person in the world to you. Go on, indulge. I bet you can think of a way that person has what you perceive to be authority. Maybe they're physically fit, maybe they're smart, maybe they're famous, maybe they have a luscious beard and a homemade car show. Sorry, I'm spoken for. But my point is that finding something attractive often has a lot to do with how authoritative it is to you, how rare someone or something with their qualities can be, and or that person's abilities / knowledge. In other words, they have great ass.
All right, let's get back to cars. Let's move to the other end of the spectrum with one of the most famous ugly cars of all time, the Pontiac Aztek. Now here it is, and when you hear people talk about this car, they invariably call it ugly, but rarely do Aztek naysayers say exactly what's ugly about it.
Yeah, now the Aztek suffered an undeserved bad reputation. I don't like the snout vents because I don't think they need to be there. They have no authority to be there, if you like. But they're merely symptomatic of the Aztek's greater problem. It had almost zero ass.
Even though everybody nowadays agrees that the Aztek was a pretty capable crossover, and even though its basic silhouette is now commonplace, if a crossover is a midpoint between a passenger car and a truck, there was nothing in Pontiac's line for it to cross over to. We bet that if Pontiac had had a decent truck at that time, or if the Aztek had been a Chevy instead of a Pontiac, the Aztek would have done a little better. It would have had a little more authority and a better ass.
Now Buick took the Aztek, it changed the styling a little bit, and offered it as a luxurious alternative to a minivan known as the Rendezvous, and it did pretty well for them. Why? Because Buick had the authority to manufacture luxury cars. Better authority and better ass.
Ass! Thanks for watching. Check out our website at crossthreaded.us. You can find out about our tweetbook and our InstaFace accounts, or grab yourself some swag. We'd love to have you as a subscriber, and we'd love it even more if we could have your support on Patreon.
We surely would. Now get out there today and let someone know that you find them attractive. And if they ask how you came to that conclusion, tell them you're just talking out of your ass. Maybe don't do that at work, though, or just tell them you have a connection or some shit like that. I don't know. Ask them their astrological sign.
Their astrological sign.
Nice one.